Hello everyone, Shirley here from Around to It. Hope everyone is doing fine today. I'm getting better day by day. Okay. And of course, gonna check some settings here and just check and make sure everything is okay. I don't see anyone here yet. And I'm not sure what's happening here, but we'll just carry on here. Today I'm going to be talking about my fabric samples here. And these are wallpaper samples, not wallpaper, upholstery fabric samples. I just thought I would do a quick video here live so that if you have any questions about what I'm doing with these, you can pop in and ask some questions. We'll just give a few minutes in case somebody does come in. I don't see anybody. Oh, Gladys. That's okay, Gladys. Hi. Go ahead and mow your lawn, that's fine. Hi, Vera Weeks. Okay, and the sound is good, I hope. I'm just checking some things here just to make sure that everything is working okay. So what I have in front of me are some fabric samples that my daughter gets from an upholstery shop, and when they get new sample books in, they get rid of their old ones, and they usually put an X across them. This one I've already taken apart, and I'm ready to work with them or take them apart, because the first thing I have to do is take off this back paper, and I will show you how to do that. And also some of them come with sort of a serged edge on them, and they've used invisible thread. And I'll show you how I get the samples to be like this. I'm going to take off that back paper. The back of the paper, or on the paper, it's going to tell you that it's 100% polyester. And I don't worry too much about it because I'm going to just be using these for bags and everything. Hi, Kim. Great to see you. So, Terry. 3 waving hands. Ooh, that's nice. So I'm going to get started on it because I'm not sure how long this is going to take me to do. But anyway, the fabric samples, and on the front of the books, there's they come like wallpaper samples. And Hi, Lisa, awkward quilter. No problem, lurk away. Um, these are the fabric samples, and they come like wallpaper books, but they are fabric samples. And they vary in size. Some of them are narrow, like this, and some of them can be even bigger. There'll be a plastic cover on the outside, but some of the things that I ran into was taking the books apart. And you will find that some things that I found helpful were because you're going to run into staples. And they are, I don't know whether I can show you or not here, but some of the staples are very long. The books are a little difficult. Yes, yeah. It's I'll show you something that I think is really cute. Um, there's so many uses for these. You can make pillows out of them. You can make mug rugs. You can make mine is going to be. I'm going to try and make bags out of them. These ones, they almost look like a carpet. And these ones, I think I might make a little mat out of them, a floor mat. Hi, Mary Jane. Great to see you. So, anyway, the first thing I did was I took the books apart. And this is some of the staples you're going to run into. And to take the books apart, my daughter and I started taking the back of the book off first. And I don't have one to show you, but I started at the back of the book and took the outside heavy cardboard cover off. The staples, what I found was if you have a flathead screwdriver, that will help you take the staples out. These great big long ones, what I used was a pair of needle nose pliers. And my hands weren't working that great from the procedures I had. But what I did was where I could get my needle nose pliers in there, I could get my needle nose pliers in underneath, and I just lifted it up. But what I could do then, and I found it very easy, was to push my needle nose pliers underneath. I turned it, and then I grabbed onto here and lifted it up, and the staple came out. So that's one of the things you're going to run into. I also kept a pair of, I guess they're wire snips, and these are spring-loaded. And where I got where these were sticking up too far, I just took, and with those snips, I'm going to hold my hand over it, I just snipped them off, and then I could just pull my fabric samples off. You could just cut along there, but I wanted to save as much of the fabric as possible. Also saved the plastic. It's a heavyweight plastic, and I can use this as if I was making a pouch, you can make pouches out of these. This, I'm not sure, but I think I can get that off. They've got an X marked through it so that they know that those are discontinued samples. I've got some alcohol swabs here, and I'll just test that. I didn't test to see if I can get that marker off and use that plastic. Well, it's not coming off that great. Nope, so that didn't come off, but that didn't come off, but not all of them are marked with a, not all of them are marked with a, sorry, marked with an X or something like that. So you do get a clear plastic sheet that you can use it and make a bag out of it, put a zipper in it. Lots of ideas that you can use with this. And where did you find the book? The fabric samples are, they come from an upholstery shop or an upholstery shop or a furniture place that has samples that you can get for free. They're free. They go into the landfill. If someone doesn't take them, they go in the garbage. And I cannot see wasting this beautiful fabrics. And these have a soft, sort of a velvety feel to them. It's all coordinated, like color-wise. You usually only get one sample piece of the fabric, but with a little bit of imagination, because they all coordinate so nice, you can match them up to different colors. And my idea is going to be making bags or whatever I can make out of it. You just go to an upholstery shop, or sometimes a place that sells draperies will have sample books, depending on the type of fabric you want. They also have wallpaper samples. So any card makers, crafters that can use wallpaper samples, they come in large, really large samples. So the first thing I did was, after I got them all taken apart, some of them don't have this serged edge around the outside. So that was easy for me. Let's just give me a second here, and I have a black table, just a tabletop. It was a sort of like a TV tray. And that's what I'm going to be using to work on the samples. The ones that don't have, the fabric samples that don't have the serged edge, I just have to turn my iron on here. Just give me a second. I am using an old iron. It's an old one that I don't use anymore. And you're going to want to use an old iron. Now, my numbers have worn off here on my iron. So I'm not sure what setting I have, and I don't know why it's, maybe I have to do that. Okay. Yeah, it's starting to heat up now. And I won't touch that again. I'm going to set my iron on a wool or silk or synthetic to start out with, because a lot of these fabric samples are 100% polyester. The fiber content of the fabric itself is listed on the back. And that pretty much dictates what heat I put my iron on to take off the papers off of the back. Now, but I do want to show you something. This is a stack of fabrics. And in the stack of fabrics, I've managed to get, I just have to, just give me a second. I'm going to see if I can zoom out a bit. And that's not where I need to be. I need to be someplace else. There we go. I'm going to just see if I can, there we go. Hopefully that's a better view for you now. And I just need to go back. Yeah, okay. So anyway, the size of this particular sample book measures 12 inches by 12 inches. So it's larger than a 10 by 10 that you get. And this fabric here is 100% cotton. And when I use it for a bag or whatever, I am probably going to interface it. And so these fabrics here, I know were 100% cotton. I'm just going to flip through because you need to see this one that's in here. Actually, there's two of them. But they are coordinating. The colors coordinate. Look at those beautiful fabrics. Even this, my daughter uses a lot of these for her junk journals. They're great for if you're making fabric postcards. So you'll get a sample of each, say each colorway that you can get. Now I'm just going to flip through. So you can put these together into a bag, whatever. But now, where is the one I want to show you? And I think it is so cute. And Deb, I believe, yep, here it is. Look at this. That's a pug. Isn't that cute? Wouldn't that be perfect on a bag? Now this particular one, 100% cotton, and it not only came in the blue, but it has a red pug as well. Isn't that cute? And I thought, oh, that is so sweet. So they have just amazing, amazing designs. And I can't see this going in the landfill. It does take a little bit of work to get it prepared where you can use it in a fabric or in a bag or whatever. But I'm going to show you some things that has helped me. So, if I'm just going to find one here. So here is a fabric sample. This one has, it's raised. That stitching is raised on there. And when I turn it over, it tells me it's 100% polyester. This one had the, nylon or the invisible thread, and I've already taken that off of this one. So what you're going to need is, for this, I'm just going to move this off to the side. On my table here, I have a wool mat that I made myself out of some wool fabric. Hi, Teresa Louise. Great to see you. Hope Brandon is doing well. I know you've got a doctor appointment tomorrow for him, I believe. So here is the sample with the paper on the outside. I've got the wool mat. I do have, these are craft sheets. This one happens to be sort of a tan color. And then I am going to use, this is a Teflon mat. It's used for, if you're working with fusibles and things like that, so you don't get your fusible stuck to your pressing surface. So that one I put on the bottom. I do have a white one, and this white one is just from the dollar store, and it's just a baking mat. And it's, you can iron on it, great for, I use these all the time. And again, I have my iron set on silk or synthetic. And I'm going to try that setting first. So what I do is I place my fabric sample with the right side of the fabric down against my pressing mat. And you will, remember, you will want to use something like this because you're going to get glue. This paper is glued on. Now hopefully you could actually just stick your fingers underneath and release the glue. But I find that using an iron, I'm going to set, not all papers you're going to remove like that, and so I don't want to distort my fabric sample. So what I'm going to do is place my other baking sheet over top. And maybe I can get this centered up. I'm just going to take my iron and I'm just going to hold it on there. Using the baking sheet with the iron is going to stop a lot of the glue from sticking to things. So I've heated it up a little bit, and I'm just going to remove this, lift it up, and it peels away. So wherever I've heated it, it will come away easy. They don't all work this easy. And so now I'll just heat the rest of this. And lift this up, and there it is. And now I have a workable piece of fabric. And this particular one measures, let's see, where did I put my ruler here? This one measures about 12 inches by almost 7 inches. When you take your book apart, the fabric sample book, sometimes it will be glued. I have a bit of a sample here, a smaller sample, and it will have some like hot glue. My recommendation is taking, I have a pair of, what are they, Fiskars? But they're a heavy-duty pair of scissors. Yeah, these are Fiskars. And what I did was wherever there was hot glue, gluing the pages together, or the samples together, I cut off that hot glue because it's going to make a mess. Any glue that gets on any of these mats, you can remove them just with your finger. I sometimes use a credit card to take them off, and then I use an alcohol swab and clean my my baking sheets every once in a while just to get the excess glue off if it does get stuck on there. So that is one way to take the glue, or to get rid of the glue. Now, this one actually, yeah, that one is, so I'll stick this underneath, and I'm ironing on with the paper side up. And this one is, the content of this one is 50% viscose, which I think viscose is rayon, 35% polyester, and 15% cotton. The fiber content of the sample itself will vary. If you come across a sample that has polypropylene, make sure that you lower the heat of your iron, because it will shrivel the fabric up. Sometimes they will have drapery samples. And again, start with the lowest heat. And the drapery samples could be like a sheer fabric. And I'm not sure exactly what the fiber content is, but match your heat of your iron to the fabric itself. And that's why I start on a silk or a synthetic heat on my iron when I first start out. If it's 100% cotton, you can bring your heat up a little bit. And on the back, I was worried about the glue on the back, and that's why I'm not going to iron on the wrong side of the fabric without using my baking sheet. If there is any glue on it, it will stick to the sheet, and this one came off quite cleanly. And like I said before, they all don't come off this easy. And there's a couple of tricks that you can use. So I'm just going to do one more here, and then I'll show you how I take out the serged edge here. And it is an invisible thread, and I would assume it's nylon, and nylon probably will melt. So that's why I don't press any of the serged edges. I take that stitching out. So we'll see how nice and clean this one comes out. And if it cools down too much, just reheat it. And you might get a little bit of fraying on the edges, but we just take our scissors and trim off any of that, and it's now ready to use in a project. Any questions? And you will need, something else you will need is a big garbage bag to hold all those papers that come off. But you can see now I have a beautiful piece of fabric that I can use for whatever I want, appliques. I just think it's a waste to have all this go into the landfill. Okay, now the next thing is some of the fabrics will come with, oh, do I have one? Okay. Here is one I tried to take the papers off, and it stuck. This one, this particular sample book had, like you can see here where I've taken it apart, and then some of them are glued down, so I'll make sure that I cut off anything that has the glue on it. So this one, and it is, I don't know whether in Okay, it could be the fiber content and the glue that makes it harder to come off. So this one is 36% polyacrylic, 31% cotton, and 27% viscose. So now when I tried to take off the paper off of this one, you would think that all you'd have to do is just like I did before, it's using the heat of my iron and just heating it up. Well, I don't know what happened to that sample there, but it did not work. It was very hard to come off. And again, now I'm struggling to take that off. And well, it's not as bad as the other one, but it does come off, and it has these little bits of fabric on the outside. So maybe I just had too hot of an iron. And if I do run across any that are hard to take off that paper on the back, I thought, how can I get away from that? See, this one's much harder. And I did try getting it hotter, but for some reason this one just doesn't. These fabrics just don't like that as much. So I'll go through, and if they're hard to take off, I'll set them to the side and figure out what to do with them later. Thank you, Lisa. And like I said, they're hard. The other thing is, on the 100% cotton samples, I'm going to see if I have one sample. So this one I know is hard to take off, so I'll set that off to the side. If nothing else, what I can do is maybe just cut here. Take off as whatever I can and just salvage as much as I can. My daughter, when she uses it in junk journaling, she can leave those papers on and not have to worry about them. But she does beautiful junk journals with using these fabrics. Now this one came off, and that one came off. I must have been working hard on these. But look at the beautiful samples. That one came off, so okay. Maybe I just need to try a little harder, because these have all had the papers taken off of them. And my voice is starting to go. So the next type that I found, let me see here. I have so many of these samples. And my daughter has tons more. Look at this. Look at this. And the fabrics are absolutely gorgeous. Look at them. And now this one is 100% polyester, and I think these ones, I did have problems taking it off. And again, I'll try again later, adjusting the heat of the iron. But these are just absolutely gorgeous. Wouldn't those look, or pillows. Think of pillow covers. Just every color under the sun, and the designs are just beautiful. Some of them are a very lightweight, and they're almost like sheerish, sort of something like that you would use in drapery. But add a bit of heavier weight interfacing on the back, and they'd be great for bags. And they do, the books will come with coordinating smaller samples as well. Now, okay, this one here, I have noticed that, I'll try this one. This one's a very lightweight, and it has, there are some that I've found that there's one layer of paper. This is 100% polyester. It's more of a drapery weight, as I said. And then it has like another piece across the top. If you find that the iron will not take off, I'm going to, nope, that one's not going to work. That one's 100% cotton. Oh, look at this. Look at the little fox. And then there's a rabbit. Oh, yeah, but don't turn green with envy. Go to your upholstery, wherever you buy upholstery or whatever. Yeah, they make beautiful postcards. Just go and ask them if they have any sample books that you could have for free. And like my daughter has bins of these. Now I think when she went, she works right by an upholstery place, and she went in there, and I think she had to take all the books, so she has tons of them. Fabric postcards, just, even some of them, like the 100% polyester, why couldn't you make doll clothes out of those? I mean, some of them are lightweight enough, but pillow covers, and I'm just overwhelmed by it. Some of like these, like this one here, is a very textured, and it's an upholstery fabric. But why couldn't you take that? Once you've got the papers off, or you wouldn't even have to take the papers off. Sew a couple of these together, because there's different colors. Sew a couple of them together and make them into a mat, like a mat for underneath a pet bowl, if you've got pets or whatever, and just match them up or whatever. Appliques, I'm thinking of so many ideas that you can use these for. And look at the colors are just magnificent. Look at that hot pink. Anyway, so these ones I haven't tested to see whether they come off. But the 100% cotton ones, now I just have to see if I can find one. These ones, they did have, these are the 100% cotton ones. And what I found with some of them is that if the iron does not take off the backing fabric or the backing paper off, these ones, it didn't come off with the iron. So how did I get those labels off the back? I took them to my kitchen sink, put them in, my kitchen sink with a little bit of Dawn dishwashing soap, and let them soak, and the papers just peeled off. Just peeled right off. And I then just laid them over, laid them and drip dried them. Don't put them in the water or in the dryer. They fray very much if you put them into the dryer to dry them. But I did just put them in a warm water bath or sink with a bit of Dawn dishwashing, let them soak until the label itself got wet, and then it just peeled right off. the water will be a milky white, and then I just ran them underneath the tap with some cool water, and there was no glue residue on it. So that's one way to work with them. Now, when I get a sample book, I'll try to come on and show you one of the sample books, and I'll do a quick video of showing you how I take the papers off just in the bath water or in the sink. So let's get now to these ones that have the serging around the edge. Now this content, did I say, yeah, 100% polyester. How did I take off that? So I'm going to bring back, I'm going to put my iron to the side because I'm not going to use that. Now, I had hoped that the serged edge, you know how you can always find one loose thread that you can pull and it all comes out? No, it didn't for me. So that's where I brought in this, just an old TV tray or a whatever that my daughter was going to throw out. And I said, well, I want that to have a wood surface to work on. So I can see that this is the nylon invisible thread. So what I'm going to do to remove that nylon stitching, so I can take the paper off. Now it's glued down, so it's not going to come up very good. But as soon as you put the iron to it, it's going to come off nice and easy. So you're going to need a nice sharp seam ripper. And the top here, I don't know whether you can see that or not, but it has holes where the staples were. That edge is not serged with that nylon thread. And nylon will probably melt. I haven't tried using my iron on it because I don't want to have to pick nylon off of my iron. If you don't use those pressing sheets, this is what your iron looks like. It's absolutely filthy, but just ordinary alcohol will take off that mess. Now, I don't know whether you can see what that iron looks like, but it's a mess. Alcohol will take it off, just a little bit of alcohol. And sometimes it's the printing will come off on your baking sheet. And I just take my baking sheet to the sink, and not all of it comes off. This is one of my sheets that I use. It's got printing on it when you press onto the printed surface here. It's going to, your baking sheet is going to pick up that ink, and some of it doesn't come off. So alcohol will take some of it off, but it doesn't seem to come off on the fabric. And one other thing I don't want to forget is that I put all my fabrics that I used in the see you, Lisa, thanks for coming. I put all my fabrics in the water when I was taking off the papers. I put all my fabrics in the sink together. I didn't worry about colors. I think because they are upholstery fabrics, and a lot of them are 100% polyester, I don't think that color transfers the same. They must treat it, they must treat the fabric somehow, because if they're not color fast, you wouldn't want to put them on a couch and then have someone come in and clean your upholstery, because if the colors ran, people probably wouldn't be very happy about that. So I think they are pretty much color fast. So if you have a black fabric in with a white fabric, it doesn't seem to transfer the colors. Mind you, I could come across some that the colors may bleed, but up at this point, I haven't had that happen. So a nice sharp seam ripper, and I know this might be hard to see, but there is this line of stitching around 3 sides. So I'm going to take my seam ripper, and I'm going to make sure that little red ball what's that? Lisa says, informed our national news not to be concerned about all the smoke. It's just all of our brains being creative at once. It's Shirley's fault. I know. Can you see the smoke coming off my head? It's just like my brain is working overtime. And not being able to sew. I still have problems with my wrist here, where they did the angiogram. I still have a bit of pain in there, so that's why I've been doing stupid stuff. And so anyway, I'm going to take the seam ripper, and I tried just pulling one piece of that nylon thread, and it didn't work. It didn't come off like it's supposed to be. Anyway, so I am going to put my seam ripper with a little ball, the red ball, to the right. And you want a good sharp seam ripper. And the reason I have the black tabletop is that when I run my seam ripper underneath, and I want to make sure I get all those little threads that are the ones that are going over. So I just run my seam ripper underneath. Now I'm going to, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but there's some nylon threads. And I found if I just went over it with whatever, you can see all my, I don't know that you might be able to see them there, but they're little nylon threads. I have a couple of things that I tried using. This is a, this comes with a, I think it's a hot glue mat. It was in a kit, and this is for working with hot glue. Also, it came with some little fingers, you know, the fingers, and they're to protect from the heat. You might want to get a couple of these if you have to turn your iron up to full heat to get the glue to release. The paper and everything is hot, and these just help protect your fingers from burning. Yes, and I have burnt my fingers because I couldn't find my little finger guards, but they're, I don't know what they are made out of, but they protect from the heat. So these two things I tried, and this one worked the best. And so when I run my seam ripper along there, then I just go along with this little thing, and it seems to take off any loose nylon pieces. The other thing you can use if you don't have one of these is an eraser. Just an ordinary eraser, and run it across. So now before I clean up all my little threads there that you might be able to see sort of shining, and I can see them. If I was working on a white surface, I couldn't see them. So that's why I opted for a black surface. So I've done one side, and now I'm going to take my seam ripper again, and I'm going to put that little ball to the right. And why am I putting it to the right? Is because if I put my finger over the tip of my seam ripper and I run this along, you can see, well, you can't see. You can see, well, it's sort of, you pick up those little pieces. And sometimes you'll get a nice little wad of those threads. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got that taken off, or that all those threads are broken. And then I'll just use my handy dandy little thing here, and that's just going to take up some of those loose nylon threads. And I don't know whether you can see that or not, but at the end of this, it has collected a whole bunch of those nylon threads, and I can just rub them off, and I'll put those in the garbage in a bit. So I've got another side done, and I'll just release this third side. And I would just want to try and get as much of those nylon threads out. And there you can see, well, can you see at the end of my seam ripper, there's a group of those nylon threads. So I can just take that off, give this a run over with my handy dandy tool. We're not done yet though. And this one just didn't come out as good. So I'll just go through that. I'm just going over this again because the next step is easier if you have all those little threads off of there. And I have been sitting here because I'm still not up to doing as much as I would like. I would like to clean my house because it's really messy. But this is much more fun watching YouTube videos and doing my work. So you will see when you take that first part of the stitching out, you will see that on the front and the back there is still thread. So there are threads that are on there. If you look on this side, and if you look and sort of twist it, you will see that there are threads on the wrong or on the right side as well. And I do have one end, and so I'm just going to take that, and those threads will release very easily. You just put your seam ripper underneath where those threads are, and you should be able to pull them out easily. Oh, of course, it's not going to work because I'm on camera. But it does come off easy. There we go. So I'm pulling off a great big long string. When I pulled that, it pulled up those stitches that were left on the right side. And those I'll pull out after I've gone over the whole top. Just releasing some so I can get the get a piece of thread that I can just pull. If you have problems grabbing onto it because you don't have fingernails or you don't have enough, use a pair of reverse tweezers. These reverse tweezers, use them in paper craft, and when you press, they open, and when you let go, they close. So they will grip onto whatever. You can use a regular pair of tweezers, but I just go like this. And that was not a long thread. I'm going to find the little loop of thread. Really, it's not this hard. Just because I'm working on camera. Okay, there we go. So now I'm pulling this top thread. Wrap it around my hand. Pull it. And I do want to get those nylon threads off of there. I just don't want to take the chance of them melting and making a mess. So now that I've got the top ones taken out, I should be able to just pull, and this thread will come out, hopefully. A lot of times it comes out in one piece. And here I have my, you might be able to see them, all my little threads. Come on. I'm just going to wind that around and hopefully I can get an end. And because it's invisible thread, it's hard to see. And that's why I find working with a black surface, I can see those nylon threads easier. And it makes for a better cleanup. And yes, it does take a little bit of time. Like I said, with me not being able to do as much as I would like, I can rest and watch YouTube videos while I do this. And I can concentrate on the video. Okay, and the last little bit here. Here we are. And now working on a wood surface, the nylon thread has a tendency to have a bit of static in it. So I'm going to gather up all my little pile of nylon threads, and I'm going to hold my hand underneath my board here, right here, and I'm just going to put them like that. Any little tiny bits and pieces will collect. For some reason, they just statically cling to the outside, and I'll just use a cloth or just my finger and take them off. Something else that might help is if you want to get rid of those threads, is your handy dandy lint roller, and that'll clean up anything. And you will get them in your lap. And this one just needs a bit of changing. If you have tape, ordinary roll of tape, masking tape, or whatever will clean up a lot of those threads. And if you do get them on your cutting mat, freezer paper, just take a piece of freezer paper with the shiny side down, iron it over, and that'll pick up any threads or loose threads. So now this one is ready to take the paper off. Hi, Mona. Yes, we have fires going over here. My brain is working overtime, and it sure smells like wood. Okay, so now, hopefully, my iron is ready to have this remove the paper. And I think my iron is hot enough. So again, the printed side, the paper side up. My iron cooled down a bit. Some of the papers will have a different glue on the back, and it's a little harder to deal with. And you will feel sometimes a little bit of a sticky residue when you a sticky residue like glue, and like right now that feels a bit sticky, but after it cools, I just need to heat that up. And I would not recommend putting your iron right on that paper. Always use even if you have to use parchment paper or something like that. And now this should just come off quite easily. And remember, a big garbage bag, because there's lots of paper that comes off. And that just needs another little go with the iron, just to heat that back up again. Take that off. It feels a little sticky while it's warm, but once it's cooled and dry, it doesn't feel sticky anymore. And that's why anytime you have to press on the wrong side of these fabric samples, make sure that you always use a pressing sheet or something, because it still may have a little bit of glue residue. And you can see, yes, there's still some glue residue on there, and it's sticking to my paper. But if you're going to interface, then that, once you put your interfacing on there, and I would use an iron on interfacing, when you iron your interfacing on, then you won't have to worry about that glue being on that side. Again, because it's 100% polyester, and this is like a nice soft, it's almost got a velvety feel to it. And even if I was pressing on the right side, I would still use parchment paper or a clean baking sheet, so that in case there is any glue left on your one that you use to take the paper off, that there's no glue transferred to the right side of your fabric. So that's a quick overview of how to deal with the fabric samples. And we now have a beautiful piece of fabric that you can use whatever you like. It's a large enough piece so you could make a small pouch out of it. Find a coordinating fabric. Let's see what we can find here. What about that one? Or there's different colors in here. We could go with a darker one. We can go with even a rusty color to go with that, and just put that as your back, or cut it up into pieces and put some on the front and some on the back, and you've got a nice little pouch. You can make a zipper pouch out of that, whatever you can come up with. Mona, I have to, I know you've come in a little bit later, but I want to show you what I showed at the beginning. this was in one of the sample books. Look at that. It's a pug. What am I making, Mona? And there's one with a red background. These are upholstery samples. I haven't decided. Yeah, Lisa. Well, Mona, she's been making a mess. That is true. I'm working on fabric upholstery samples where you get the books. And I've just been showing ways to take off the paper off of the back and how to deal with some of the things that come. I've been showing tips to take the just tips to take the paper off the back because they are glued on. And again, like I said, some of them I do believe I had trouble with these ones. And the paper did not come off. How with the heat of an iron, it was still a little bit difficult. If I can't get the papers off, there is still a usable piece of fabric right there that measures about 6 inches by 9.5 inches. So it's still a nice usable piece of fabric. If I can't get the paper off, then I will just cut this one piece. And so Terry says, thank you, Shirley. I regret that someone gave me some of these books and I gave them to the art teacher. I had no idea what to do with them. Thanks for sharing this. Oh, yeah. It's, had my daughter not had all these books, that actually my grandson, one afternoon, we just took all the books, took the hard covers off of them, and I just couldn't believe the beautiful fabrics that were available. And I mean, they're all, if you can get the papers off of them, they're just gorgeous fabrics. But I thought the pug was so cute. I was thinking of Deb. Deb, the pug mama. So now my daughter will come and go through the ones I've already prepared, taken the glue or the glued paper off and everything. And hopefully some of the tips I've given you, you may find an alternative for using your 100% cottons in bags, and saving these gorgeous fabrics from the landfill. Look at this one. And it's so nice and soft. But it's just beautiful fabrics. And I think it's such a waste to have them go into the landfill, especially when you can find one with a pug. So that's about it for today. Any other questions or anything? My sewing area is a bit of a disaster. My whole house is a bit of a disaster. And it's beginning to bother me, but not enough to clean it. Let's put it that way. I'm saving my energy. So that's about it for today, ladies. I want anyone who is listening, anybody who wants any information, leave a comment in the description below the video, and I will call it alive today. And oh, by the way, if anyone I know we have one of our members from the Piecing It Real who's in the hospital right now, and I'd like to send out prayers and virtual hugs to anyone who is going through rough times right now, anyone who is dealing with medical problems, family issues, loss of loved ones. I know I just lost my niece lost her husband, and he was young, but he did have a brain tumor, so sad times. But I'd like to again thank you very much for coming, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.